Welcome back. So the potatoes are pretty much done. The turkey is finished. I'm just tasting it to make sure that it's seasoned well. Pretty happy with how it turned out from a flavor perspective. I don't think it needs any extra salt. And I'm gonna add this vegetable broth that has a little bit of salt to it anyway. So there's a chance that it can get some additional flavor that way. This is the vegetable broth. Again, I just added water into this measuring cup together with a couple of bouillon cubes. And those bouillon cubes, what to do first? Anyway, yeah, so the bouillon cubes make the vegetable broth. The potatoes are ready. So just gonna dump those. These took from the time I set them in to the time they were ready. The water wasn't boiling yet, so they took a little bit longer than they usually do, just because the water wasn't ready. But that's the reason that the most important thing is to put the water on first. So I make the mashed potatoes in the same pot as I boiled them in. So I get all that water out and then just transfer it back into the pot. Now, I have a mashed potato masher and it moves. It migrates all over the house and I can never find it when I need it. Here's one of them. So for the mashed potatoes, there are two different directions you can go here. One of them is you can add butter. Now, any butter will do. Obviously, you want to go with a salted butter rather than an unsalted butter because we're from the South and we don't fuck with unsalted butter in our food. But you can also add olive oil if you prefer. So I'm going to use butter this time because butter's awesome. And I go ahead and generally try to cut it into pieces. This got into the... Who cares? It got into the dill. Nobody cares. It just adds some flavor. Don't worry about it. And I'm probably going to add a quarter cup of butter cubes. And I just take all that butter and chunk it directly in with the mashed potatoes. And I don't have any milk or non-dairy milk, but I do have some heavy cream. So I'm gonna add some heavy cream. These will be kind of rich and decadent potatoes. You're welcome. And I just eyeball it, about a quarter cup of butter. I don't know, maybe half a cup of milk or cream, or half and half, or don't use the rice milk. Don't use your rice milk because it's got sugar in it and it's gonna taste terrible if you put rice milk with sugar in it in mashed potatoes. I feel like that should go unsaid, but it's also, you know, been a while since I think you had to make mashed potatoes, so we'll call that a freebie, and don't be mad at me for saying it out loud. And basically what I'm doing is just chopping these up, beating them until they, I mean, in a perfect world, they won't have any chunks in them because nobody likes chunky mashed potatoes. Pretty good, maybe a little extra butter. Again, I'm doubling the recipe for our purposes. So I'm gonna add some more butter. gonna go ahead and add a couple of pinches of salt. Again, Celtic sea salt for your tum-tums. Just a pinch of salt. You can go slow on the salt and then just add it in as you stir it. You know, taste it a couple more times and see. There's no perfect amount, totally up to you. Because the filling of the shepherd's pie is a little bit salty anyway, I'll sometimes make the mashed potatoes a little bit more bland. Because again, you don't want the whole thing to be salty. You know, you just want it to be seasoned appropriately. That's pretty good. Actually, it's really good. Okay. Now, I still have the dill. I'm gonna go ahead and add that into my ground turkey mixture. Star Trek still obviously playing in the background. Stir it in. All right, now the magic. I have my broth. I'm gonna add about, so the recipe originally is 1 3/4 cups of broth that you wanna add. I've doubled the recipe, so I wanna get it fairly close to 2.5 cups of water, or of broth. And it's gonna look crazy for a second. Don't get nervous. Crank the heat up. Again, looks a little wonky right now. Calm down, everything's gonna be okay. All-purpose flour. So to make a gravy, you add flour to liquid. And the flour is what is gonna thicken the liquid up a little bit and create the gravy for us. So in this case, I'm adding probably maybe 1/4 cup. We'll see how that does to start off with. I don't want to get it too thick, and I don't want it to be too thin either. But you want to get some heat underneath it when you're adding this gravy, when you're making the gravy. Yeah, and this is going to need a little bit more than 1/4 cup for sure. Okay. And now the only thing you have left to do is thicken this gravy up. Once that's done, you lay this in the bottom of a pan, and then you add your mashed potatoes on top of it, and you're done. You have dinner for a couple of days. Okay, love you, bye.